solo mid and Team Origen here in our first game of the day. Today we find out who from Group D moves on to the quarterfinals. Kalista and TF, the first couple bands.
Yep, no surprise there with the Kalista. They mentioned it on the analyst desk, and even Niels himself in the interview afterwards was like, yes, oh, well, first pick Kalista every time. We value it much more highly than the other teams.
I mean, Kent just benched.
Yeah, the Kent
All right.
We're still expecting a Gangplank bang. 100% pick and ban rate, and every time he's left open, immediately that team pays the price, they lose, so definitely want to get Gangplank out of the equation here. Origen may be confident though to give it to Dyrus, who hasn't been performing that well, and Soaz is known for counter-picking these top lane matchups.
It seems like they really want to maybe grab a Darius for Dyrus because they do have that Lulu banned out. There's a Gangplank ban.
Yeah, the counter-picking game here is actually really interesting between these two teams to me because yes, Soaz is great at counter-picking top lane, but also if you only get one counter-pick here for a solo lane, even if you're on red side. So do you really want to trade a Soaz counter-pick for a Bjergsen counter-pick in the mid lane?
That is bold. Kennen Kog'Maw locked in, first rotation.
Yeah, Kennen, very aggressive support that we've seen come out of Korea, but let's not forget, it is a flex pick, and Soaz used to actually be a very AP-heavy top laner, so he can most definitely play that Kennen top lane, and more importantly, Dyrus as a player generally doesn't adapt very well to really quick changes in terms of meta, so being put up against the Kennen may actually prove cumbersome for him.
Well, TSM's weakness for a long time now has been adaptation to picks they weren't expecting, so not surprising to see Origen maybe throw something like that at them early on.
Yeah, definitely looking at Loco Doco up on the stage there to send them into the game with a game plan when facing something like this Kennen flex pick. Here, though, Jinx and Morgana, they have been some of the most underrated picks here at Worlds.
Yep.
Jinx is actually 9-2, and Morgana is 6-1 herself. So really strong, at least statistically speaking, lock in there for TSM's bottom lane.
Also in terms of damage that Jinx brings to the table, the highest damaging player I think at Worlds overall is NL, and he played I think 3 Jinx games, so definitely...
You got that Penta on Jinx too, I'm sure that helps a bit there.
Penta's generally...
you generally need to do a lot of damage to kill 5 people.
But the trend within those first 3 picks is that they all have like a long range tool to CC people. So you have Zap coming out from Jinx into Bind, Cocoon, any of them connect, they facilitate the others. Jinx can follow up with traps. So TSM, they actually have an identity that doesn't involve them to get too much deep vision. They don't need that. They can just start sieging towers straight up. So this may be easier way to play out the game for them, and they may actually be able to snowball their early game lead if they can get it again against Origen with already this 3 out of 5 composition.
Yeah, and they are going to have to watch themselves spread out. It does look like it will be a top lane Kennen, so it will be a lot earlier. Zonya is looking for the AoE there to try and corral TSM.
Yeah, Gragas Thresh locked in for Origen. And I was wondering if we were going to see an Azir here for Bjergsen. You know, the Siege we already talked about a little bit. It would fit in perfectly with that comp. Don't think we're going to see the Talon, but that's like a lot of Korean players hover over Talon. There's some like inside joke with Korean players. I don't know about it, but on OGN we see this like every single match.
Well, he's an extremely effective assassin, but as you said, probably won't be picked here, so we won't go into too much detail on Talon. I have to say, though, the Thresh has also been a highlight for Origen so far because of the way that Mithy trails his laners as they're trying to split push with the Lantern there, reliably trying to get them out of harm's way.
Really? Ooh. Wow, Syndra locked in along with that Malphite. Kobe's excited. You're both excited. Who wants to talk first?
Well, so Syndra got some mana buffs, and a lot of the players over in the Korean bootcamp were playing her a lot, namely Incarnation and Bjergsen.
There have been rumors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Bjergsen was also a long time ago known very well for his Syndra specifically for bursting people out when she was much more of a lane bully. I want to see how he pulls it off here. Also, the Malphite lock-in for Dyrus. Obviously, looks like they might be leaving him to the wolves a little bit. They want him to be on a tanky champion, come in with a teleport ultimate.
I think overall TSM did a great job drafting around their weaknesses. They do tend to get ahead individually in the mid lane, and just as a team gold-wise, 1,000 gold at 10 minutes. With that gold lead and a struggling top laner generally, you can leave Dyrus on an island, he can get behind, he can just bring the utility to these fights. You have 4-man siege that can set up each other. Only one of them needs to hit their spell, and the rest is very easy to chain.
Yeah, I want to bring it back to this point that you highlighted earlier in the introduction here of TSM not being the proactive team. They have so many ways to make picks and start fights here. Syndra also has one of the longest range stuns, plus it goes through people, so she can stun multiple people, and it travels so fast that you can't dodge it. So there are many pick opportunities here for TSM.
Also in their last matchup, Lustboy and Santorin were struggling to get into the enemy jungle. Now they have double ranged brush tech champions.
Yep.
Also, they're not fighting against Amazing's Rek'Sai, who had 100% uptime every time he would base, ulti back. So it was incredibly hard to enter the jungle because Amazing was always watching that. Now that Gragas actually has to base, combined with the fact that you have Morgana at least, there could be a distinct possibility that TSM's deep vision warding will improve drastically in this game.
It's going to be insane, but I mean, the same things hold true in week 2 as they did in week 1 for TSM as well, where they need to watch that positioning. They need to be more of a team and less of Bjergsen and 4 other dudes who happen to be on the map at the same time.
Yeah, and speaking of positioning, I'm actually going to keep my eye very closely on Soaz this game, because with all of these skill shots and long-range stuns, the Kennen, if he gets hit by one, has a very hard time of getting in there.
Sure.
He's a very squishy champion. If you have to blow your Zhonya's early, then it greatly reduces the effect of you in a team fight.
That's right, guys. So send in your votes throughout the day at LoL Esports. And for this first game, you can use hashtag TSMWin or hashtag OGWin and let us know who you think is going to take the first game of the day. I think this is going to be a crazy group, man.
Very excited to kick off this day with you.
Oh, yeah.
Just thinking back, even if TSM closed out that gold lead that they had, this group would have been Origen tied with TSM.
It's true.
LG all the way at the bottom. This could have been even crazier, and even now it's going to be fantastic to see how this plays out.
As we move on to Summoner's Rift, yeah, TSM and both of their losses lost gold leads that they had between the 10 and 20 minute mark. These guys need to have a solid mid game.
Yeah, and remember, most of those were coming from Bjergsen creating that lead himself. He's not being given gold on his team. He's doing so much of this work.
Right.
Also, as we're into the Rift here, let's take note of some summoner spells here. It is going to be the double teleport for Origen, not really surprised there, but also Lustboy down on the bottom here for TSM with the exhaust, just in case Soaz makes it past all of these skill shots and into the team, then you can't exhaust Kennen during the ult.
You have to be a true ninja this time.
Sneaky from the flanks here. That's what Soaz is looking for. Just get in unseen somehow, unspotted. With TSM's lacking vision control, he could technically, but I think right now they'll just have to ward their flanks.
Well, Kennen has never really been, you know, like primary engaged.
No.
So it seems like it's a very fragile composition for Origen too. I mean,
yeah, because at first glance you'd think, oh, they have Kog'Maw and Orianna. They're sort of trying to protect the Kog. Maybe they'll save their Gragas Ultimate for defensive purposes. But that's a great thing about Gragas Ultimate. It is flexible. You can also use it as an initiation tool.
I mean, looking at Myth, he actually started coin, so they may indicate that Origen actually wanted to get a lane swap. Very often you see Relic Shield on Thresh when they want to lane because you want to bring the sustain.
Yeah.
Coin, if you're not going to lane anyways, just get that passive gold gen.
right. Makes some sense. Looks like they will lane swap here against TSM. Dyrus and Lustboy moving through that ward into the enemy jungle.
Yeah, it's actually going to be a three-man delayed invade here for the red. They're going to start the red up actually a little bit slowly, but Origen did see them walk on the way in, so they're going to try and react. The only thing is that TSM also have Santorin starting off their own red, so a double buff start here for TSM. However, Turtle behind on experience already because he's not in lane.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit odd to see Turtle sort of wander his way back through the jungle, back to lane. Dyrus is going to grab that red buff, though.
See, this is a good move by Amazing. He saw what was going on, so he immediately moved into the other person's jungle aggressively to find some more information to see what is going on exactly. Turtle, he took the hit for his team. He set himself behind to get a potential 3-buff start for TSM.
Yeah, it's actually fairly interesting because they will be relying on Jinx for the late game attack damage threat to make sure that Origen cannot just build magic resist. But as you say, Amazing did go check towards TSM side, but remember, with Santorin starting that red, he couldn't get anything done, and Amazing actually ended up wasting a lot of time, so even he is going to be fairly far behind here.
I think this is an incredibly smart start here just overall from TSM. If Bjergsen can keep up what he's been doing in every game so far, and this start will play out the way it did, that TSM will get that average goal lead at 10 minutes.
Yeah, and look at this. It was actually a very interesting mind game here from TSM. All they did was take the red and one of the small monsters in that camp. They didn't fully commit to taking over this side of the jungle, which is what teams normally do. And Origen, you know, basing Amazing's moves off of the expected behavior of their opponents is what cost him that, you know, 10 seconds moving across the river there.
You know,
TSM actually came out ahead in the mind games of the early stage.
I just wonder what's going to happen, because I mean, we've seen TSM be pretty solid, like we've talked about in that first 10 minutes, but
both up.
it's just always between 10 and 20 that the lead slips away for these guys. Oh, and maybe again coming in onto Expeke. There's the stun from the Sphere for Bjergsen. That's a lot of damage. Expeke, Ignite ticking down, and he is going to go down. First blood goes to Santorin.
Renamed to Team Duo Mid.
Team Duo Mid. This is exactly what we were talking about. Only one of those spells needs to connect. QE from Syndra, followed by the Cocoon. If Cocoon hits first, then Syndra follows up. Then Morgana Binding. They have so much CC they can layer on top of each other. And honestly, Peke may have been wiser for him to bring Cleanse rather than that standard teleport that he's been running.
I think so. And that flash is down now, so he's going to be even easier to gank next time.
Yeah, that long-range stun from Syndra is one of the reasons why she became my go-to mid. The missile speed is just so quick on the combo. There's no way that you can reliably dodge it.
And generally, you don't get punished if you miss it because that's such a large range too. Generally, if you're in the mid lane, when you miss your spell, they can aggress on you. Good players will use that window, but you can backpedal relatively safely.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give that one to you, but there are situations
6 out of 10,
where,
maybe?
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Kobe's like, well, if I'm against the Syndra, no way she's getting away. I'm good enough to punish that.
Because I'm thinking, if you just blow your E on Syndra, it actually leaves you extremely vulnerable, and Gragas is great at closing that gap. So if Amazing had been there for a counter gank, then you know, he could have disrupted things, but you're right. With the jump that TSM got there, well-deserved first blood, and it did go to Santorin, so some money spread about. We'll see if Santorin can actually make that money count and get some deep vision for his team.
Yep. Meanwhile, Dyrus has fallen a little bit behind in CS down in that bot lane, but that's not too surprising if he's laning against a Kog'Maw Thresh. It's going to be tough for any melee to lane against.
Yeah, Origen, they swapped it around right now, and they dropped a pink ward on the right side of mid. Soaz pathing into Santorin here. Santorin.
Wow, taking a lot of damage from Soaz. Soaz is going to chase. There's the Repel. Lustboy coming in, though. He's got nowhere to go. They're going to catch him. They're going to catch Soaz with the Dark Binding. Santorin turning it around. Can they actually take out Soaz? There's the exhaust. He's going to flash over the wall. They're going to let him go. Happy to just take that summoner away.
Really good to see what Santorin did there. He waited until the all attack was launched from Soaz with the mark, stun him, repelled up, and that bought enough time for his support Rod or Lustboy to come in and help.
Yeah, pretty good bait there, and it might also earn them a teleport, not just the flash, because right now TSM are quickly pushing that top lane. We'll see if Soaz actually decides even to go back there. He knows that at least was just top, so it's extremely dangerous for him to go for this.
Yeah.
TSM should press up and just zone him off of the turret. They need to cut this off because otherwise Origen are gonna get this dragon without any repercussions here.
Looks like they will, and yeah, Soaz smart to not TP back in there, would have gotten dove immediately. So OG comes out a little bit ahead by grabbing this dragon. We'll see if TSM can get the top lane.
I mean, generally speaking, if the team resorts into a very early dragon, it actually means they're behind and it is the best option left for them to take. They do invest a lot of time taking that, and it gives what we call the tempo momentum, call it what you may, for TSM, because they're going to pick up this tower and actually establish a gold lead.
Yeah, the thing is that TSM also actually didn't get in there quick enough in lane to zone Soaz off of all of those minions. So Soaz did soak up some experience. And Origen get a little bit back there in the top lane while they trade Dragon for first turret.
Wow, and Origen throughout Worlds has been very, very good about getting those dragons, and they got another one right now, but like you said, they need the gold. They need those turrets a little bit later. We'll see how fast they can take down the bot lane.
Gonna recall here, so not pressing on that bottom lane. And TSM, you get so much momentum in the game when you take down that first turret, and it's not a trade. So this is the thing that Origen are giving up for that early dragon. TSM get to call the first swap. They send Wild Turtle and Lustboy down bottom quicker, and Turtle has actually gone for not only the pickaxe buy, but also stacked a longsword on top of it there. So that is going to be a delay in the Infinity Edge completion. Maybe he turns that into a Vamp Scepter, but he's just getting as much flat damage as he can in this early game to make use of the minigun attack speed and continue to keep the tower lead, try and keep up that pressure.
Makes sense. Bjergsen's still just farming in the mid lane, dead even in CS. Well, he was when I started that sentence anyway. Against Expeke, who's going to be grabbing his blue buff here. And now, are you a little bit surprised that TSM didn't try to punish this flash that's been down on Expeke?
He has been playing fairly safe on Orianna, trying to stay back and not extend too far into the lane. Plus, they did get a little bit of vision coverage for him. But, yeah.
Origen overall, just they know that TSM likes to play with multiple members around mid lane, Lost roaming. This is an old style of them. The response after that death from Expected was immediately Mythy and Amazing, roaming to mid and placing some wards. So Pink Ward went down, that got killed, but they still had a lot of wards remaining around the mid lane. They just faded just now. But Pekka generally is protected well by his team. And again, that speaks to the dual synergy between jungler and support that is just far greater on Origen overall.
That makes sense. We finally got the 2v2 down in bot lane between Niels, Mythy, Lustboy, and Wild Turtle. Ward in the forward brush for both teams, actually. Oh, going to get cleared out by Origen, though.
Yeah, plus this time around, Peke also protecting himself. Got his own pink ward there.
Yep.
So doing a little bit of his own vision. Ah, Bjergsen finds it immediately, though.
Yep, that one's not going to last too long. Well, we'll see. No, he's still going to get it. Yep. It's like a contest of whose orbs are superior.
Ball versus spear, who comes out on top.
Well, back down to this bottom lane, though. While Origen did take the dragon in exchange for that top turret, they also got a CS lead for Niels down there.
Going on to Dyrus. There's the ultimate. Amazing coming in as well. Dyrus, he's got his ult, he's got his flash. Probably not going to get taken out. Yep, he'll be able to escape that one. Has to burn the ult, but things could be worse.
Meanwhile, TSM going to make a counter move down here on bottom. They saw the jungle up top there, and
that's not
Niels and Mythy get out just in time.
Looks like they might be able to get that bottom turret, though, so that's going to be first turret of the game, or second, rather, for TSM, and they continue pushing this objective game.
Yeah, Bjergsen gets ahead in mid lane in terms of push, then he uses that to get a roam, and TSM are speeding up the game right now. Counter push here from Expected, and we just hit the 10-minute mark, and we've been used to seeing this.
Yeah, and again, keep track of the minions as well, because we were focused so heavily on the turret going down first there for TSM, but Origen actually got the minion lead on both top and bottom lane in that lane swap without focusing on the turrets and losing minions to the turrets. So if they equalize these outer turrets, then they'll slingshot back ahead in gold, and they have the early dragon.
You gotta compare the team comps of the value that they bring when they're combined. When all parts are combined, how strong is that? Because for TSM, the sum of all these little parts is just greater than individually the parts of what they bring to the team, especially if they can group right now in mid lane and start sieging. That is what their composition is built for. Grouping 4 or 5 people and just fishing with skill shots, and hopefully you connect one of them.
That is especially true in this game because of how vision reliant this TSM team is. They have so many ways to make picks, all of these skill shots we've been talking about, but when the last outer turret goes down, that mid lane turret you're talking about, that's when they really get to set up shop. You can see they're already trying to move into the blue quadrant of Origen's jungle here to set up some of that vision and get a look at Origen's early moves.
Yeah, so TSM, now the pressure is really on for these guys. This is the point where they started to kind of fall apart in some of their losses last week. So this is really it. Like, these next 5 minutes are probably going to determine the game for this team.
I think TSM just placed more wards in this, more deep wards in this game than they did in the entire game versus Origen last time.
Yeah,
There's that pick they're looking to set up.
That's true, and they're getting those pick opportunities from those wards, which we didn't really see a lot of. Amazing, is he in trouble? There's a Dark Binding. Centaurn comes in, lands a Cocoon. Amazing, can he get to the Lantern? Wards drop to prevent him from clicking it. Has to flash over the wall to get away. Oh! Ultimate used to pull in Lustboy, but no follow-up really for Origen, so they'll be able to make it out of that one too.
A tiny collision radius was added to the wards to prevent that from happening, from spamming. There still is a possibility, but it's still quite hard if you're panicking and you misclick once that auto attack is launched. You can still technically click the Lantern, but it's a lot harder these days.
Amazing didn't want to take that chance, but luckily for him, Bjergsen missed his earlier stun. Hits this one though!
Flash Cocoon, and they take down Expected cleanly under that turret. Mythy trying to defend his mid lane, but TSM's going to take this one too.
Once again, the skill shots, I mean, just to reiterate, misses this one actually.
I mean, it seems like we're telling the same story over and over, just send some skill shot at them, but that's
Long
exactly...
It's because the story is so clear. And that's actually something that Hermit specifically said that he values in team comps during the interview a couple days ago.
Well, Origen going for that second dragon, so at least going to be able to maintain the tempo with that objective anyway, but they're going to need some turrets. They're down 3-1 right now. The gold lead is starting to swing again in TSM's favor.
Can TSM keep this up though? Can they keep doing this on tier 2 towers deeper into the map? Can they make picks? Have they fixed their Baron base? Because otherwise, if Origen can stay relatively even in terms of gold and keep getting the cross Baron or cross Dragon, then eventually they will be at 5 dragons. And late game, they scale pretty well with the range on the Godmode, the flanks from Kennen and Pekka Oriana rather. We've seen it. One shockwave is enough to turn around and fight.
Yeah, I mean, Origen's going to do a ton of damage late game, so it's not over yet. Not by a long shot, rather, for Origen.
I'm infecting you.
I know, right? I spent too much time in Europe.
All right, well, as of now, TSM actually have done a decent job of controlling that vision. Origen, though, as you said, the main highlight, they've been able to stack dragons thus far, which actually, the bonus for number 2 doesn't do a whole lot. It's just that if they can win the next team fight, then it does put a lot more pressure on TSM. So we'll see TSM move in and try and get vision before next dragon spawn.
Oh, grabbed it. Raptor Steel.
That's all you need to do. You need to take away resources on the enemy side of the map. TSM could actually start looking to move up this line of pink wards they have. They have very defensive set of 4 pink wards right here in their own jungle, but Origen have no business going there. So if they can move up those 4 pinks, layer another line of green wards in front of them, they can start shutting down the jungle efficiently and keep Origen spread out and then fish for those skill shots that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, I actually like what TSM are doing here. They're moving up into the red quadrant of Origen now. Because Dragon is gone, they're changing their focus, spending more of their vision in that top side, and we'll see if they try and make plays around their vision. That's always what you want to do, obviously. Go to the area that you have lit up.
Well, it's so good to see TSM being a little bit more active and getting some of those deep wards down. Origen is starting to sort of clear some of them out now, but this game, I would say, so far looks more promising here in week 2.
It definitely does look more promising for TSM. I do want to caution against a one team fight collapse here for TSM. Could be a giant gold swing. Because once again, there's a lot of standing gold in the outer turrets here for TSM still left up. You can take those very easily after you win a team fight. So while Origen are behind in gold right now, it's due to this giant turret advantage that TSM have. They actually still are doing
Tier 2 tower, generally, you need at least 1 rotation. Because you can't just siege 5-man mid into an Orianna Gragas. They have too much wave clear, but you can pressure them in. Then you can make the first move to another lane. But Soaz is essentially blocking the move to top lane, because 1v1, he's beating up on Dyrus. So the only play left is either to rotate from bot to mid, or from mid to bot, and TSM are struggling to find that opening, find that opportunity. So that's what they're looking for right now. Deny expect a wave clear somehow. Strike when he's not there, or move away from him.
At this stage of the game, when you get all the outer turrets down and you have the deep vision like this, the important thing to focus on is cutting off the farm of your enemies. Because you're going to try and deny the minion waves by using the vision you have in their jungle to cut off their movement between the lanes and also look for those bonus picks.
Yeah, you also want to look to smite their wolves and raptors just to take away the oracle buff or the wolf buff, just to get more control of the map.
Yeah, and TSM right now, all kind of hanging out on their side of the map. A lot of those wards, actually not too many of them have been pushed back too. I'm just like not used to seeing TSM having wards deep in the enemy jungle at this point in the game. They had a lot of opportunities last week.
Who is really? Who's used to that?
Well, I mean, maybe we should get used to it. Origen takes on the mid turret, but TSM, at least they still have that vision to work with. But this is where, again, you know, we've said this. I feel like we're a broken record, but it's so important that this is a point in the game where TSM has been consistently falling apart.
I feel like TSM should actually use this bottom turret as a trap. You can actually bait with turrets. It's a low health outer turret, should be easy for Origen to take, but TSM, if they set up properly for this, they can close a trap on Origen. If they get a deep ward for Dyrus to teleport in on, they can have everybody collapse down here and try and pull off that fight. Started with skill shots. Looks like
Lustboy.
Bjergsen's actually going to be really late on this rotation, so they can't pull the bait now.
There's a ward for Dyrus behind them.
Yeah, this turret's going down for sure. Origen could have a fight here too if they wanted. Not going to go for it. Part of me just wants to yell, fight already! But they're not doing it. They're just taking wards and turrets.
Well, there it is. That's a standing gold I was talking about. Origen slingshot right back ahead, and they're actually up in gold now, despite the 2-kill advantage for TSM.
Yep, and we are right before 20 minutes. Right on schedule. So Neil's going to recall. We'll see what he picks up. He's got that Trinity Force down. Had it for a little while already.
Yeah, helped out in taking that turret. Origen are actually good, really strong on item completions right now. They've got the Abyssal Scepter there for Soaz, which is a huge pickup for the Kennen because he also has Sork Boots. So a lot of the flat magic penetration there. Going to do a whole bunch of work on the priority targets, like the Jinx. Bjergsen, though, actually gone for an early Abyssal Scepter himself. Looks like a second item completion for him. So he's got some magic resist.
There's going to be a lot of AP on that Origen team, so not too surprising to see him pick that one up. Third Dragon on the way in 45 seconds, and Origen already setting up to try to take this one. And TSM, I mean, am I right in saying that this team comp really doesn't want to go head-to-head 5v5 with Origen right now?
Yeah, they really want to set the vision before the dragon. Trying to do it right now.
And you want to keep your distance. If you're TSM right now, you want to keep your distance, max range skill shots, and at all costs, you want to avoid the flank from Soaz. He has boots too and mobility. We talked about it. Not a primary engage because it's easy to counter, but if he can get behind you, he can shut off an exit route and then gather you up, and then you can get punished.
Oh, hook onto Dyrus.
Also,
did not doing anything out of that though.
When you're running a team like this with so much range damage and range CC, you want to be very cautious about when you commit with your single melee champion. Dyrus doesn't have to immediately ult. If they get a pick with a binding or something like that, they can hold off and focus with all 4 of their range champions before having to commit with Dyrus.
Wow, and Origen going for their 3rd dragon. Can TSM do anything about this? They're coming in, but I think all they can do is poke with skill shots. Dyrus gets grabbed again, and Origen just take the dragon and back away. You don't even need to fight right now.
Yeah, I was tracking the map movements prior to this setup, and when TSM was trying to fight Origen for the control around Dragon, Lustboy was watching Wild Turtle farm. He was in the lane together with him, doing absolutely nothing, while Santorin obviously will get outmatched 2v1, so Origen take control of the area, they go mid, they bait TSM in responding, and then they cut them off.
Well,
they have to leave open their mid tower though.
Yeah, they do take a mid turret with that, so they do maintain the turret lead, at least, and a slight gold lead out of that.
We are approaching the stage in the game where the 6% from the first dragon buff is fairly meaningful though, so TSM are going to want to get one. Turtle's really far away though.
Flash over the Flame Chomper, Soaz gonna ult, and can he catch Wild Turtle? He does! And Soaz just takes down Wild Turtle. Once again, ADC for TSM way out of position.
TSM just not working together. If you have a Morgana on your team, she should always be within range to respond to potential picks like this. Black Shield was far too late.
That was pure greed. These are those mid-game picks that we're talking about. They've been plaguing TSM all tournament long.
Yeah, amazing. They're trying to take that blue buff. Syndra's gonna pull it over the wall. Bjergsen's like, no man,
nope.
Mine.
My blue buff.
I'm taking it all the way to the lane.
Watch him speed run back though.
I gotta get back home. Oh no! The blue buff just wants to get home, man. Just let him get home. Bjergsen's not gonna allow it though. I will make you kill the minions.
Is it kidnapping?
It is.
What is
it is. The police are coming for Bjergsen right now. It's trapped again. They've got CC for days, man. They can keep that blue buff.
This is exactly why I built CDR and Cinder right away.
Go home, blue buff.
The only thing that would make this
purpose.
more comical would be a Tom Kench in the game.
It's true.
All right. The blue buff finally escapes the evil clutches of Bjergsen.
Oh, I'm relieved. Oh, that blue buff. He's like, guys, if his little rock friends were still alive, he'd have quite the story to tell. But looks like he'll be joining them in the afterlife.
No one's around to hear him.
A journey. Blue buff baggings.
Wow. It's a hard life to be a buff. Bye. At least I got to see mid lane. How many blue buffs can say that?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, kind of an awkward moment there for TSM, but they're going to try to push down this mid
I don't know. I
lane.
feel like that's a huge moral victory for them. We've been able to secure our blue.
You know how you can lose the battle but still win the war? Guys, we lost the game, but we still got the blue buff.
Like, remember when we got that blue buff? Like, yeah, we lost the game, but we got that blue buff.
We'll see what they do with it, because blue buff is actually fairly important on Syndra.
Yeah.
I mentioned the vulnerabilities that she does have when her E is down. Obviously, we'll shorten that with the cooldown reduction there, and you want to spam out as many of those combos as you can to look for the picks.
Certainly.
Problem TSM are having now is a problem they've always had in the summer split towards the end and even at Worlds. They're slowing down. They're playing to their strengths, and then they stop doing that for some reason because they're afraid to push their advantage too far. They play too safe. And you saw Origen only needed 1 minute in TSM jungle to ward it up, move over to the other side of the map, and make a pick.
Well, see, it's a vicious cycle because that happens, and then you have the picks too. Then you have Wild Turtle wandering off and dying, and that means they think, oh, we need to just play even more safely.
So I keep telling this cautionary tale of the standing gold there for Origen, able to get back in it.
It's true.
Also, the later you go, if at first you traded turret for a dragon, say worth. You know, free turret. Second dragon, definitely worth. Third dragon, you're starting to question how.
But you keep saying worth, even though you question yourself.
Just keep telling yourself worth, and everything will be fine.
How well does this program scale? Because up to 5 towers, then you give away 5 dragons, and suddenly Origen coming out swinging with some true damage. So
yeah, that does not work very well. Not worth. Unworth. 4-3 is the turrets right now for TSM, but they have kind of stalled out. Those wards in Origen's jungle have largely gone away now.
I mean, look at Expected. He's completely fine taking the slow game on a pick like Oriana. It scales incredibly well later on in the game. She needs 3 items to even function very well in teamfights, so Pekka is definitely fine with the slow pace of this game. So is Niels on the Kog'Maw. Kennen kind of falls off, but still serves his purpose later on if you can just get that Zonias and buy time. Because if you're running a double carry composition with Kog'Maw Oriana, that's enough for Soaz. That's all he has to do is buy time. Because it's not like Dyrus will outscale him anyways in terms of damage.
Yeah. Origen moving into that tier 2 in top lane now. Wave clear's still pretty good for TSM at this point.
One scaling point, though, for TSM is that Origen are extremely magic damage heavy.
Yes.
Even Kog'Maw does a large percentage of magic damage, between 30 and 45%. So until he even gets his Blade of the Ruin King, they are extremely heavy on the magic damage. The TSM have built the Aegis of the Legion, at least. They needed to rush that.
Interestingly, speaking in the comparison to the last game, how we're saying the early game was vastly different. How it has ended up right now is completely the same. Last time, at this point in the game, it was 1-2-1 between Origen and TSM.
Wow.
And Origen were exactly 1,000 gold ahead. So history looks like it'll repeat itself. It started out differently, but you can't change the course of time.
I guess so, but it's still a point, though, where TSM can make a change. They can still take control of this game. It's not over by a long shot.
Very much so. I mean, Syndra's combo, the missile speed is 2,500, one of the fastest in the entire game. So
wow.
The surprise stun can
what
still
is that measured? Is like
can
Timo's
still
per
come
hour?
out. Yeah, it's
Timos per hour, yes. That's the speed at which we measure things in League of Legends.
everything measured in Timos. Actually, I'm going to lobby for everything to be measured in kenches now instead of inches.
It's a bigger unit of measurement.
Yeah, exactly.
Quite a bit. You know, maybe if you've got
I guess
like,
we can include both.
you've got like inches and feet. What about Timos and Kenches? It's about like, you know, you could probably fit about 12 Timos in one Kench.
All right, we'll get that.
Get that through the
we'll get
balance
that.
design
We'll
thing.
get that surveys rotating around here through the French audience.
All right, no kills, but Dragon has spawned finally, and TSM is actually in position to defend it.
Yeah, they are, but Origen, I guess they don't want to try to contest anything. They're just going to go for the turrets. And
Yeah.
for them right now, that's more worth it.
Exactly. It's their turn to trade the Dragon for secondary turrets here. Krubby, you mentioned how the secondary ones are much more difficult to take. Plus,
Not if there's nobody there.
Well, plus they gain complete autonomy around this Baron. They can do whatever they want. There's one ward here for TSM, but all that does is signal that they have to be careful.
Yeah.
Because they can't see into the Baron pit, and Origen can pull some baits.
Luckily for TSM, Origen was kind of out of wards by the time they moved into the Baron, because if you can see, there's a few wards being placed right there, but not too many. De-warding hasn't been done perfectly either. And TSM, when it comes to a team that can face check and brush safely, it is this roster. Everybody doesn't even have to get close in proximity of that brush. You can just chuck skill shots in and hope something hits.
Yep. You'll know.
You say that.
Or you say,
But then you just walk
Dyrus, the only one who can't face check anything, gets pulled in, gets hooked, has to flash away. He's so low right now.
He chose to use his longer cooldown, the flash, because they really need that ultimate for the team fight.
Yep.
Without it, he is useless. Completely useless.
But again, TSM had one ward, and instead of using that ward to get somewhat safe access to put more wards, they just wait until it disappears, and they're like, guys, they're at Baron. It's dark. What do we do?
And
Send in Dyrus.
surprise, surprise, they're going to start up Baron.
Speaking of Baron, Rocket comes in, they're going to check it, misses everybody. They're going to see Baron being done, though. Origen has to back off for the moment.
And mid lane is down, so there's no rotation here for any like outplay potential on TSM side. So Origen, they don't really get punished. If TSM was even safer in their approach, they could have lost Baron there.
Yep. Going to be able to clear out some of these pink wards now from Origen. And so TSM will take control of the Baron area for the moment anyway.
Can't dig that crab up, though.
Nope.
He's deep in there.
Hitting some spikes though. Very, very efficient build from Turtle here, going with the
Yep.
Phantom Dancer over the shift. So if this game does prolong, triple item Jinx with the Zeeks that could come out of Lustboy here could actually make Wild Turtle a hard carry, because unlike the game where we saw a lot of wind walls, Braum shield, that is not here. Nobody can actually deny the damage from Wild Turtle unless they straight up kill him.
Yeah, he'll spike up to 100% crit chance when you finish the Zeeks. So,
And I mean, the thing is, you know TSM's aware of the disparity between Bjergsen and the rest of the team as far as damage goes. There does seem to be a lot more priority in this game on getting Wild Turtle ahead, on getting him to be the big carry in the end of the game, and having Bjergsen play more of this control mage in Syndra.
they're putting a lot of faith in him, and he has to respect that and actually watch his positioning. Cannot afford to get caught out once again.
Well, Soaz running from Dyrus right now. Has his flash if he needs it.
The slow burn.
Fighting him, I guess. He's going to TP out of there, actually. Oh, gets knocked up, though. Dyrus finds him. Soaz pops that ultimate. Dyrus gets stunned. He's going to keep chasing. He's got that Q, but Soaz can escape. He's Kennen, man. He can get away.
Oh, the Jinx rocket.
Whoa.
Soaz.
The fact that this is possible is actually really good for TSM, because earlier we were talking about how to get map advantage, you need to
Teleport
rotate,
blank.
you need to rotate, and Soaz could beat out Dyrus. In addition to that, not only does Dyrus beat Soaz 1v1, he also takes out the teleport and removes the potential teleport flank, so this is huge for TSM in the next 5 minutes.
Now, with the ult already used, why wouldn't you just flash there instead of try to TP out?
Why? I don't know. That's a good question.
That's what I was wondering the entire time.
Hold on.
The ult
Hold on, you guys.
down
Okay, TP is very important for Origen, but so is Flash on Kennen. Like,
Oh, okay.
Flash on Kennen is ridiculously important for the engages.
I see your point.
All like, if you don't have teleport, you can tailor your team play around the fact that you don't have that one teleport, and Origen still have a teleport on Peke. But if you don't have the Flash on Kennen, it's really hard to tailor your team fight around a non-Flash Kennen.
That's a good answer.
It's a
Thank
great
you.
answer.
Great
I
answer.
feel like I
Fantastic.
learned a lot right now.
Ah, success.
Wow.
Professor Kobe's back.
I'm kidding. Feel educated. Oh, Origen pushing up that mid lane again. Peke down the bot lane has to clear some of the wards. Somebody's got to answer Dyrus, and they've got to send Peke down there.
And this plays into it. You lose one teleport. Well, we have two anyway, says Origen. We just move a different guy. And Peke could actually do a lot better against Dyrus 1v1 because he can poke him out more reliably.
That's a good point.
Fighting for the blue buff. No Syndra here, so...
Blue buff heard what happened in the last one.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, I'm just staying home.
Is Peke any more benevolent than Bjergsen, though? I mean, who would you really rather have as your master?
It doesn't end well for the blue buff either way, does it? Not really. Oh, well, he's like, well, might as well try to hit him. Oh, no, never mind.
At least Dyrus is like, Dyrus is almost of the same genus here. He's also
true.
a rock man here. He's a giant mountain.
The same, like, rough species, I suppose. Origin, though, going for this Baron. Have to back off as they see TSM coming up the river right now. And they're going to dive into TSM's jungle here and go actually for the top lane.
Interesting move up here mid. This is a Jinx, by the way. You don't want
TSM wins out.
Don't want to base race a Jinx here. And Origen, we talked about how good they are at quickly assessing the game state. They know they're behind. They can't go for this split here. And TSM actually moving straight up mid, get a whole bunch of damage.
Mistakes already made, though.
That's a ton of damage on that turret. They're actually going to take it out. They take out the mid inhibitor turret.
I mean, TSM, they were already sitting in the mid lane, so the path from mid to mid is obviously shorter than from Baron all the way to the top lane, so that's actually a big mistake from Origen, and really good use of scrying over there from Turtle, because he spotted Origen the second they started Baron, and that just gives you so much room to out-rotate and go for the base race here.
Well, Amazing gets stunned. You're going to throw a barrel in there to check things. TSM looking for possibly a pick. Don't quite find one, though. What's Origen going to do? Run for their lives, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, TSM, they're really not a team that I think should chase too far. Dyrus gets hooked in, though.
Gets hooked, gets thrown to the box, takes a lot of damage, and he's going to back away. He's got his ult, he's got his flash, but he doesn't have much health for a while.
It's so interesting here, the decision between Origen going for 4th Dragon and trying to defend their inhibitor. They're actually going to sacrifice the move up mid in the inhibitor for number 4 on the Dragon stacking to wait for number 5. We'll see if this corral here works out because they've trapped him inside their base. But Dyrus has teleport.
That's true, but how's the rest of TSM get out here?
Oh, they're
stuck in the base. There's the explosive cast pushing the turret. TSM.
They need Dyrus now. Dyrus has to be there.
They're going to flash over the wall. Everybody burning those summoners. Origen chasing. Looks like they might let them get away. But
that's actually incredibly good shot calling there from TSM, because that was the only correct play they could make. TSM's lineup is incredibly strong if you can punish members running at you, if you at least have leeway behind you to move farther, but they were blocked up by a turret.
How much are they going to give up for this, though, as Origen now move in to sweep out Baron? Vision control around Baron going to be taken out. And talking about cautionary tales, when you take down a single inhibitor this early in the game, sometimes the team that you took down, never mind, we're talking about a Baron here.
Origen going for this Baron one more time. TSM, they feel the need to stop this.
Oh, that's a choke point.
Shockwave gets 3 people. Can Origen follow up? Dyrus comes in for his ult. Soaz with the secondary engage, gets some stuns. There's Antonia. Soaz goes down though. Bjergsen with a kill. Lustboy got taken out during the fight, and Origen, they can't keep doing this Baron.
And that was all Lustboy's exhaust. That was the difference between a double kill on Baron for Soaz and just Soaz getting immediately blown up and turned around. So summoner choice a lot better, especially in these passive games. If you're a team that's not going to kill anybody anyways, don't bring Ignite. You can see again, choke point so dangerous against Orianna.
Here goes TSM, though, all in on the Orianna. They hit both stuns. They actually overlap them. Soaz goes in to cut off the rest of TSM. Not only is it the exact, but the heal there from Turtle as well.
Yep, Summoner heal did save Lustboy there. Bjergsen got an awesome stun onto Xpeke after that shockwave landed, and that was just a fight where TSM barely held on.
And right now, Wild Turtle wasn't even really in that fight until it was slightly later on. But if he can start out the fight well and stack up that Zeke's, he will be sitting on 100% crit with armor penetration and a black shield to defend himself. He could start carrying these fights in addition to Bjergsen damage.
Yeah, and while, yes, Soaz doesn't have flash right now, neither does Turtle. So Turtle's still going to have to be fairly careful, but as long as he doesn't get hit by a hook or Gragas ultimate. Whoa, stun
that's
there!
A stun into Xpeke. Rocket connects, but Soaz soaks it. Xpeke is still with very low health. Origen needs to back off here.
Yeah, and these exchanges are all about positioning. If Origen are stuck in front of TSM, they have an incredibly hard time making anything done, because TSM, they throw out bindings, cocoons, they walk backwards. If you get hit by any of them stepping forward, you immediately get blown up, or you have to blow your flash.
All right. So returning to the team that actually takes the inhibitor, sometimes you can actually go down in gold, because it means that the entire time, as long as the defending team is able to clear out the super minion, they actually get more gold up that lane, since TSM's minions will kill all of Origen's minions on their side of the map, and Origen can try and just farm defensively. The drawback, of course, is Baron pressure,
Yep.
and the loss of vision, which TSM have to use to get picks.
Well, TSM's not putting a lot of wards. Well, getting a few in there now into Origen's jungle, but not as many as you see from a lot of other teams. I'm really wondering what's going to happen when this next dragon comes up. That's going to be a big moment too. Amazing caught. That's a big moment for TSM. Gets pulled out on the Lantern though. Lives through the ultimate from Bjergsen.
That's why you build Merc Threads.
Yep, guess so.
Against this team, yes, you definitely do.
Yep. Teleport coming in for Origen. Amazing still there. Low health is Baron.
Dyrus walked over. He saved his teleport.
Yep, that's
Stan
right.
torn down to 40% HP, though.
Yeah, TSM needs to be a bit careful. They've got some health missing on a couple members, but they intelligently backed off that Baron.
So you trade like different concepts, right? You get an inhibitor, you get Baron pressure. Right now, they traded their Baron pressure for a teleport from Soaz. If they can repeat that entire ordeal, send Dyrus split push bot. If the scenario repeats where Dyrus 1v1s and pushes out Soaz, they can do the exact same thing and force Pekka's teleport potentially. And then once the teleports are down, then you can maybe get the Baron. But it's a work of many, many steps, and TSM have shown that they have made a couple correct steps in a row, but then slowed down too much, faltered. So see if they have the big picture in mind right now.
Yeah, and speaking of Origen, they have had just such great late game calls so far here at Worlds.
Yeah.
See if they can keep it up.
Well, they've got a 2K gold lead to build off of. It's basically nothing at this point in the game, but it is a little bit at least. But the big story is they've got those 4 dragons. The next one is up in a minute 20. TSM cannot let Origen have this dragon. If they do, you really got to be worried. Dyrus narrowly avoiding a hook there.
So I hope TSM, for their sake at least, is aware that Pekka just finished the Quicksilver Sash. So when you have that one skill shot connecting, Pekka will not instant cleanse, he will just wait for you to launch the rest ones, step out, and then TSM can overpile on one target that can just QSS flash out and turn around the fight with a good shockwave. So that's big.
He does have to be very careful with that, though, because these skill shots actually do a tremendous amount of damage. They don't just lock you in place.
Yeah, the inhibitor comes back just in time, too, for Origen.
Yeah. If Pekka takes too many of them before he waits to cleanse, then he might just be low enough, and you can't cleanse the knockup from Dyrus. So talking about pulling the trigger there when TSM decide to actually commit with their melee champion is going to be huge. It's a good point you bring up, though, because the unseen Quicksilver Sash is the deadliest. Like, that's the big part of a Quicksilver Sash is the surprise factor of the first time you use it.
And then you have that realization, should have pressed tab more often.
I know,
Every
really.
single time.
It's not
always
hard
after
to look
the
at
fact.
people's items.
It's the unseen Zanyas and the unseen Quicksilver Sash that will turn team fights and can win you games.
Well, it looks like TSM has managed to take position over the Dragon, and Origen may just try to trade this for a Baron instead. They're still going to have that 4-Dragon pressure. This would only be TSM's second if they take it. So Origen, I think, is going to be happy to make this trade.
TSM can send in the rock, though.
They may. They've got a ward. They're coming up. They left the Dragon, actually. Origen, they're going to finish off that Baron. Dyrus zoned out by the box. Origen gets the Baron. Soaz Stunned out Bjergsen with not enough follow-up. They're going to chase Dyrus away. Amazing. Looks safe as well, but that's a Baron for Origen.
And TSM didn't even get the Dragon. Now Origen can move down to the Dragon and try and stop them off. TSM have to get it as quickly as possible and then run like hell. Origen can actually just move down mid lane and get a turret for this Dragon attempt from TSM.
Well,
they're actually trying to answer it.
TSM will get the Dragon, but they've got to run for their lives right now.
Oh, man.
Can Origen do anything about this? Doesn't look like it. Probably go down mid, like you said. Take that tier 2 turret. And either way, they've still got a scary team fight.
Yeah, slightly maybe missed opportunity there for Origen, because with the Baron buff, you can push extremely quickly.
Yeah,
they still can.
They still could probably get a...
They do like their vision in between the lanes, especially now that they have the Baron buff. That 1v1 that Dyrus was winning against Soaz earlier, for example, he may not win that anymore because there's so many magic, almost immune minions. Yeah, that tower's gone. We don't have to talk about that anymore. And now the split push becomes so much stronger for Origen, whereas TSM's lineup wants to corral together and send out the skill shots. Origen, they're comfortable playing 1-3-1 double teleport, buffing minions on each individual lane.
Yeah, we're finally seeing the reward of Origen's early focus on the Dragon, stacking up. It all culminates in this moment. We also talked about the advantage that Origen have had in the late game shot calling compared to TSM. Showing up right there.
They just changed things up. We're going to watch Baron for 40 seconds, then start it. We're going to start instantly, so you never know. So that unpredictability and just doing the correct Baron call at the right time is what separates good shot callers from the best. If you look at Yellowstar, for example, he's always really good at calling those, split decision, second-making Barons where you just take it out of the blue somewhere and people can't react.
Yeah, it's just, we always gloss over in cast because you can't really delve too deep into it. During a game because there's so much action, but there's so many small things that go into, exactly. Right now we've got a perfect time so we could sort of touch on it.
Talk away, Kobe.
But yeah, so there's so many small things, like, especially, that's why a lot of people become junglers, because you get to participate in that in solo queue. Like, I know for a fact, a base champion, melee champion, will get from the fountain to the outer turret in 30 seconds. Supports, you take off 2 seconds because of the masteries, and then once you get boots 1, you can take off 3 seconds. But you use something like that, a known amount of time and a known length, to make judgments about how long will it take people to get across the map, how long will it take us to burn down this Baron. Being in this situation, I have Blade of Ruin King this time, it's going to take this amount of time. I'm behind this time, it won't.
Yeah, so if they're a certain amount of Teemos away,
exactly.
Over seconds.
You get like 50 Kenches in 40 seconds.
Approximately, what, like 500 Teemos?
All right, here we go, Doa.
They actually used to use Teemos as a measuring tool for skill shots because the base unit, Teemo is 100 units long.
Still seeing that.
Yeah. So skill shots were like 7.5 Teemos.
Well, TSM trying to defend their bot lane tier 2 here. Doesn't look like Origen really has what it takes to take it out.
They don't care about grouping up on a single tower. They just want to say, tell the story of, hey, we're sieging here at tower 5v5, then peel off and just go somewhere else, and then TSM is stuck defending a tower, so just out-rotate. They went mid, TSM goes mid, then they go back to bot, and just try and outmaneuver one step ahead and slowly take down that turret every time.
Yep, chunking away here for Origen, get a little bit of damage onto the turret. If Deals gets one W Trinity Force auto attack on it, it takes off a huge amount. Just be careful though.
Yeah, obviously that Godmode very, very vulnerable down in bot lane with the number of long-range stuns and CC that TSM has.
Sure, you're happy to see the Mikhails now, Crepo, completed for Mithy, so whoever does get caught first, you can use that. And Peke has to be careful not to stack his Quicksilver Sash activation with Mithy's Mikhails.
That build is incredibly hard to play though. If you look at what you have in your inventory, if you get hit by anything, like these skill shots are all being aimed at Xpeke, but you could be a poor support getting like a ricochet or a stray skill shot. A straight bullet can take you out in one shot.
True. Oh, Dyrus chasing Amazing away into the jungle here. Soaz is there, though. Got to be a little bit careful. This is the Shuriken.
So I just had a look. Misty's sitting under 2,000 HP at this point, so doesn't really have all too much. And in terms of resistances, 40, like 60 armor, 78 MR, he's definitely not doing too well. If any of those combos from Bjergsen hit him, or he just gets hit with the Dyrus ultimate or some splash damage from Turtle, he gets blown up immediately.
Yeah, TSM actually did a fairly good job of keeping that Baron power play there for Origen to sort of just an average few K gold, and not lose out their secondary last turret down on bottom side. Really, once again, let's go back to our tried and true old story for this game, the skill shots. It's going to depend so much on that vision control, who can get the pick here.
One of the other things that's going to depend on a lot is that Dragon that's coming up in a minute 25 again. Looks like the fans so far predicting Origen to take this one, but it still seems pretty close.
This is good here. TSM moving in for some deep vision. About a minute 15 seconds before an objective. Generally, when you get the first layer in, then you can choose to base if you want more wards to supplement that, or if you want just kind of keep control of this area and punish people warding in.
Looking for a pick here.
Oh, they missed Niels. That would have done it. Whoa, that was so close. Just being a dead Kog'Maw.
Waddles his way to safety.
Has his own Quicksilver stash now, but again, there's a lot of stunts coming in. If one would have caught him, I think it would have been tough to get out without at least burning a flash.
Yeah, you want to look for...
Oh, Shockwave brings in Santorin. Lustboy caught on the edge of that one a little bit. TSM has to back away. Bjergsen, of course, still very fragile. We haven't talked about that a lot, but he could get blown up very quickly too.
Yeah, I think Origen are actually peaking pretty hard on power right now.
But look what they're doing. Shockwave was used defensively, no follow-up, complete dragon control here from TSM. You move in a minute before that. If OG can't crack that vision control and they're not split pushing at the same time, they will have to walk in this like assault of skill shots.
This Origen team seems a bit more
Flash on
fearful
here. That's
fearful than they did before.
Little bit
Respectful,
risky
fearful, thin line in between.
A little bit of both. They're going to go in though. They may have an opportunity for this 5th dragon. Rise it spawns. We are going to have a huge fight here. As again, TSM cannot let Origen take this. Origen backing up.
Oriolti is back up.
Yeah, that's right. Just in time too. Origen back into that choke at the moment.
Thorn has to be really careful here.
Yes, he does. But Origen needs to be careful from, or with Dyrus round 2. No, could really wreck them. They're going to go in after Dyrus. They pop that Banshee's Veil. Dyrus taking a lot of damage, but they can't chase him into that choke. It's just too dangerous. Turning onto the dragon. Now, how fast can they take it off? Whoa, Lustboy, low health doing this dragon. 5th dragon, does it go? Oh, Turtle stole the dragon, and Origen denied that 5th dragon.
Once again,
I can't believe it.
Turtle, okay, I would normally agree with you, but Wild Turtle has done this so many times this year. On Jinx, this is basically a Turtle classic. I mean,
I've seen him do it before, but man, talk about clutch. Wild Turtle with the Jinx ult takes the dragon. That's 2 5th dragons now that
need to redo the montage, boys, for Turtle neutral steals.
It's an important one.
Need to leave some space in that scrapbook, you know, because every time he does that.
Yeah. Look at this though. Origen still do have the double teleport to try and work with. They've actually got split pushing Orianna down here, which has gotten the wave all the way to turret. TSM making a big blitz up mid though.
Wow, they might be able to just take out this inhibitor again. There's nothing defending it.
Look at Amazing, he's flanking. So Origen are going to sacrifice. They wanted to bait them to commit to this inhibitor and then send their jungle behind to flank, get spotted. That's why TSM's backing off. That has been the opening in every game so far. In all of these situations, in this game particularly, is mid-game, mid-lane rotations. You're doing Dragon, we go mid, you move back, we get Dragon. Every single time. You're doing Baron, we move mid, you defend, we get Baron control. Very, very mid-lane centric game so far.
I think the longer this goes on too, you know, this Origen gold lead is meaning less and less, and really the big turning point is going to be when Turtle gets a magic resist item. I think his last item here should actually be a defensive magic resist item, because then it would protect him a lot against the all-in there from Soaz.
Yeah, you'd think he could use like a Mercurial Scimitar or something like that. He needs to be able to get out of some CC.
I mean, look at Expected too. He's sitting on 520 CS, 46 minutes in the game, averaging over 10 per minute.
Baron being taken by Origen right now. TSM doesn't want to let this one happen. Baron getting lower and lower. They get it. Have to drop that box to keep TSM away. And nobody wants to fight this game.
See how
tear rolls down my face.
Yeah, let's see how well Origen used this Baron, because TSM going to take them a long time to get back to base. They have to be able to try and defend this inhibitor turret, but so long on the recalls, I think Origen have it.
They may. They're going in right now. That turret's not going to last. Origen, oh, they turn around. They don't go for the inhibitor. They do get the turret, though, so that's a vulnerable inhibitor for both teams now.
Yeah, just the turret being down is huge for Origen, having that open door on the top side of the map.
Yeah.
You can also see the mind games just come out there when the 4 seconds base versus 8 second base changes the entire parameters of a base race.
Oh, definitely. And, you know, behind all of this, slowly but surely, Origen has been taking more and more of a gold lead. They're up to 7,000 now. And of course, we're now at this point where pretty much everybody has all the items they're looking for in a game. It doesn't matter as much, but it's interesting to note, too.
Yeah, on Expected, for example, any gold that
amazing.
wasted. He's sitting on Already 2,000 gold and 1.5k gold that he's not going to be able to use for any upgrades except the elixirs.
Yeah, it's actually, now is the really interesting time when we go back and look at the choices for upgraded trinkets because people are running out of ward slots, especially since Quicksilver Sash takes up a spot where you would normally have an endgame item. Origen actually peak earlier, like right about now. They don't have inventory space left to max out. And AP Mage does not work with Quicksilver Sash. You can't upgrade it into an AP item. The only choice for Peke would be get Mercurial Scimitar after this for more empowered auto attacks, which, you know, since he's Oriana, not the worst thing, but definitely not optimal there. So because they've been forced into these Mercurial builds, they actually are less Mercurial.
Fascinating. Professor Kobe on the job as Origen moves into TSM's base here, looking for that inhibitor. TSM wants to stop it. That inhibitor getting lower. No stun lands from Bjergsen. And the inhibitor stays alive for the moment anyway. Soaz pushing up that bot lane at the same time, though, behind all this.
Yep, Origen just trying to make use of their split push now. Split pushing with Baron. Get a lot done. I think that secondary turret, that's forfeit for TSM. That is gold in Origen's pockets pretty much.
Yeah.
You can see the issue Origen have right here. If you enter the base to go for inhibitor, you enter through a bit of a choke point.
Yeah.
It narrows a little bit, and it's easy enough to space off enough skill shots, one on the left, one on the right, to catch at least something. That's why Soaz is actually split pushing. Take away one or two of those skill shots, suddenly that opening's big enough for your team members to get through. But right now, it's incredibly dangerous to commit to a 5v5, so that's why Origen taking the split push approach.
Well, by the time that Soaz could teleport in, a lot of people would be dead because the team is so fragile. So you got to be careful. But Soaz knocking on the door in the bot lane now.
Got it.
Yep. Origen.
Origen rotation.
Pushes. Shockwave onto Santorin. They grab McSpecke, takes some damage, having to cleanse that one. Gets caught again. Another big stun comes in for Bjergsen. Wild Turtle throws in the rocket, but it doesn't do enough damage for any kills.
Again, though, this is Origen's handle on the map pressure game. They've been able to keep up the pressure so long. 2 inhibitor turrets are down. Even though the inhibitors aren't there, the defenses from TSM are crumbling.
Also, look at the communication. Very often you will see Mikhails and QSS be used at the same time. They're in panic. It was one after the other. I didn't see which one get used first, but there was clear communication on what's going on. I go first, you go second. Complete faith in helping each other right there. So really solid play there from Mithy and Expecke.
Uh-oh, Neil's coming in, and he is going to take out this inhibitor unopposed. Just peace out with the Lantern. Nice little snipe by Origen.
That's that Lantern play from Mithy, highlighting it in Champion Select. Thresh is so big for Origen. They're able to get that inhibitor down, and they're keeping up the pressure. Dragon drawing them away from the Nexus turret, but they're going for the Nexus!
Whoa, they are! Teleport coming in. Origen, Dyrus with the knock up there, but Soaz in there with Expecke as well. They're going to take down Dyrus, and they might take down the base too. There goes Nexus turret number 1, and they are going to back off as a recall start coming in for TSM. But that Dragon, Origen just has pressure on every part of the map right now.
Well, let's see if they can get out of here. TSM actually have Morgana flanking.
Oh, that's a bind onto Mithy.
Nobody's there.
He takes some damage. Shockwave brings in Bjergsen. Can they follow it up? Lustboy gets grabbed. He's very low, goes down. Oh, big rocket comes in. They take out Niels, but they manage to just barely save Soaz in the end. TSM pressuring. They might be able to get this Dragon.
Origen really whittling away at them, actually. Origen's still here.
Hook onto Santorin, but Mithy takes a lot of damage. Wild Turtle nearly
Those
kills him
traps
off.
were so close to hitting right there.
I know, this game is still so close right now. Expecke charging forward. Bjergsen has to back away. TSM just again trying to get this Dragon. They got to keep it away from Origen. They're going to try to get it. Can Amazing steal it? He's moving.
Oh, he got it! Amazing!
He steals the Dragon, and that is Dragon number 5 for Origen. Niels was dead. He didn't get the buff, but everybody else on the team has it, and that could be disastrous for TSM.
Santorin mistimes the execute combo there. Amazing comes up with the clutch steal against his old team.
Second, 5th Dragon of Worlds here. And have we seen more Dragons this game than we actually have seen kills?
Maybe.
We probably did.
It's a sad, sad day. But this game is
objective
so
control.
exciting. Let's watch this again. Amazing.
Oh man, he just mans up and goes straight in there.
I think he body slammed Santorin at the end to get that little bit of a start.
Cancel the Q?
Maybe.
I think
See it again in super slow
Santorin
motion.
did the math wrong, and Q smite wasn't enough, and amazing smoke.
Smoke.
People are going to rewatch
Scoot
that
it.
a whole bunch of times and
Frame by frame.
Yeah, frame by
Yeah.
frame, and get back to us with the exact.
The Twitterverse will let us know.
We have the NCIS version enhanced.
Enhance.
Enhance.
Amazing.
Eventually, you enhance too much, you can't tell the difference between Dragon and Kench.
Right. When does the dragon become Tom Kench? Why do we keep talking about Tom Kench?
Why not?
That's right.
Fascination.
Amazing going after this bottom inhibitor. Expeke is there as well. TSM now responding. They're recalling now. They're going to lose another inhibitor.
And this is something you just can't practice because
Ryan.
very rarely in scrims does the game go this late. And Origen are doing very unconventional things right now because they're just so smart in their approach, and they always have the Thresh Express to get people out of there overall.
Oh, but you can practice it over a 4-year period if you're Peke and Soaz, and you've been in games that get to this point so many times.
It's true.
Also, just going back, say like, I think 5 minutes, 6 minutes. I'll get to that point after because it looks like we're getting a Baron fight.
All right.
I think so. Origen going for this Baron here. They've got that 5th dragon. TSM's going to try to stop them anyway. Lustboy throws out ward in there. Santorin flash. Cocoon doesn't quite connect. Dyrus in the back lane uses ult, but no follow-up really for TSM as they charge
going
hard.
down.
That Baron is low too. Rocket comes in. Santorin
Baron's at
taken out.
700.
Baron regenning health, so TSM can't steal it.
Someone kill the Baron.
No one's going to kill the Baron. Not right now. Baron's
Too late.
fine.
Baron lives to see another couple of seconds here.
He does.
Holy, I can't believe he actually lived through that. TSM not deciding to try and execute, but they focused on getting Origen off of the Baron.
Yeah. This is the longest game we've seen at Worlds so far, guys, and I don't think it's going to go too much longer as those minions might take out the second Nexus turret right now. Oh, it's so close. Are they going to get it? They will.
Dyrus had to aggro that
Minions.
melee.
Oh, it's a fight lost boy. Taken down. Well, Expeke died first, actually. TSM fighting back, but Origen all over them. Wild Turtle got a pretty good angle on this. Mithy misses that hook. Wild Turtle coming in. Looks at going after Mithy. Bjergsen is down, though. And Wild Turtle on his own. Can he get another kill? He gets one before he gets taken out. That's an ace, though. And that will be the game for Team Origen.
Teleport for Soaz. He's going for another solo Nexus.
Don't call it a backdoor.
Can he get it before his teammates arrive?
The door is wide open this time, yeah. Soaz takes the solo Nexus, and Origen will go 4-0 already in Group D. GG.
Might have to write an article on map pressure at this point because Origen just do so well whittling you down. They continue to pose the enemy with these difficult choices over and over again. First time, they'll get 500 HP off of your turret. Second time, they'll get another 500. Then they take the inhibitor.
Origen, they're just playing with that get stuff done mentality, and that was lacking later on for TSM. Like, they had such a good start, such a good, clear, identifiable composition. What do we want to do? Group up and siege. When do we want to do it? Apparently not now.
Wow, that was smooth, man. You know, Expeke and Soaz to me just seem like the split-pushing battering ram. They're just going to keep hammering at those side lanes until the turrets go down.
When they first brought that strategy to light in Season 3, it was so incredibly painful to play against it, and you can still see that this Master just spreading out those resources, teleport, split pushing, knitting away. They don't tunnel. They have really good patience when it comes to this place.
And I also want to highlight Mithy in this as well. We keep giving so much credit to these old solo laners here, but Mithy's communication is so good, and his game sense, also getting there to back up people with the lanterns, a really big part of it.
He's so confident. I talked